Have you been wondering how you can store your feeds, for a longest period of time? Don't worry, guys. In this video, we are going to explore how we can store our feeds for a long period of time. Because as we told you that the major factor of production on poultry farm depends on feeding also. If you have the good breeds and you have the nice feeding and management, there you can at least, you can thrive. And also, if you want to decrease on the cost of production on your farm, what we call cost of production. Cost of production. What do I mean by cost of production? Cost of production simply means you reduce on the expenses or expenditure, the money that you spend on your farm. There you are, reducing on the cost of production. Now, the ways how you can reduce on the cost of production is to buy feeds, store them when the prices are low, because in Uganda it is like this. We reach at a level where prices are very high. They keep on hiking. Today they are very high. Another day they decrease. Like right now, prices are very high. 1 kilogram of maize costs between 1,200 to 1,300. That's way too much. But if you bought your maize when the prices were a bit low, that means you are good to go. Your cost of production will still be very low or will remain at a lower price. Why? Because you bought your feeds when the prices are low and stored them. Then at this time when the prices are really high, that means you are enjoying the business. But those farmers who did not actually store the maize, they are suffering because of the feed prices are very high. So guys, in this video, we are here to explore how we can store our feeds for a long period of time, because you may buy the feeds, but when you don't know actually how to store them, you will actually make losses, because by the time you want to use the feeds, they are already spoiled and you cannot give to your birds. Why? Because during storage, maybe you stored them very wrongly, and they have formed what we call mycotoxins. Yes, they have formed mycotoxins, which are later a problem or a disaster to the health of our birds. Remember, we want healthy birds. If we have healthy birds, that means our production will be high. But if your birds are sick due to bad feeds, consuming bad feeds, that means your production also will reduce. Why? Because through these mycotoxins, your birds will develop coccidiosis. Coccidiosis, yes. They will also develop what we call diarrhea. Diarrhea. So, a lot of diseases which can be caused by these feeds. So, in this video, we are exploring how we can store them so that we do not actually get these mycotoxins and other infections that come along with poor feeds. So guys, if you are new on this channel, please consider subscribing on this channel so that you don't miss out any upload. And also my returning subscribers, I welcome you once again on this channel. This is Smart Farming Uganda. My name is Brian Chirabo and I am very passionate about poultry farming. Yes, that's why I decided to give you all these details concerning poultry production or poultry business at large. Now, these are the factors that we must consider if we are to store our feeds for the longest period of time. I'm going to give you 6 major factors or tips that you can use to store your feeds for a long period of time. Number 1, start by buying dry maize. Yes, guys, all starts with buying what we call dry maize. If your maize is not dry, when it's still wet, you cannot store that maize. It cannot be there for a long period of time. Why? Because it's going to become, it's going to rot and, bring molds. And once these molds come, they are the one that causes mycotoxins and the other toxins in the feeds. So make sure that the maize that you are buying is dry. In Uganda, we have a problem of what we call fake feeds. A lot of people or a lot of stores sell fake feeds. They sell maize which is not dry. They sell maize bran which is not dry. So everything is fake, but you must learn how to differentiate between, real feeds and fake feeds. So make sure that you buy dry maize or maize bran. That is the first step to store your feeds for a long period of time, because if this maize is really, a bit wet, when it has high moisture content, high moisture content, that means it will not last for a long period of time. So guys, we start with buying dry maize. That is factor number one. So after buying dry maize, because if you buy wet maize, that means the following factors will not work on you. Even if you actually implement them, they will not work for you. Why? Because you have already made a first mistake, is to buy wet maize, the maize which is not really dry. So make sure that when you buy maize, it is well dried. That way, that maize will last long. So after buying that maize which is dry, point number two, we bring that maize to our farm. But before storing, we must make sure that our storage or our room where we are going to store it, it has good aeration. Good aeration or ventilation. What do I mean by aeration? Make sure that air is moving in, air is moving out. Yes, it has to be well ventilated. Air must move in, air must move out. That is what we call saturation of air. Why? Because we don't want, warmth inside our storage. We don't want, the build-up of the heat inside our storage house. So make sure that it has good aeration. Yes, after buying dry maize, taking it to our farm, we consider aeration of the room. Another point to consider in our storage or in our room where we are going to store our maize is use pallets. What are pallets? Pallets, these are like, they are in a wooden form where we press our maize. Make sure that the maize is not really pressed. It's not direct on the floor. Because when you put your feeds on the floor, direct on the floor, that means they will form moisture down there. The downer part of the maize bag or whatever will form heat down there because there is no aeration. Whenever you put something like this, there is friction over there. So when you press your maize on the floor without pallets, that means there is no air circulation. So make sure that pallets are on the floor, and then these maize bags on the pallets. There you will have good aeration fill out the pallet, whatever. So there will not be any build-up of any moisture, whatever, any heat down there, so that you do not get molds in your feeds. So that is point number 3. Point number 4, or tip number 4, how you can store your maize or your feeds for a long period of time. Make sure that the room where you are storing it has no access to rain or any sort of water. Yes, rainy. Why? Because you may store your maize in a room, yes, with good aeration, good pellets, but whenever it rains, rain droplets will come through. They have access to your feeds. Also, that one is very long. So make sure that the loom has no access to rain. Why? Because if rain enters into your maize will start to germinate. It will germinate or it will form, molds, and it will not work for you. You will make losses. So by the time you would like to use your maize, it would be already spoiled. So guys, make sure that your loom has no access to rain or any sort of water. Yes, point number 5. Make sure that your loom has no humidity. Humidity. Guys, humidity is very important. What is humidity? Humidity simply means, the amount of water vapor in an environment or in the atmosphere. That is what we call humidity, water vapor. What do I mean by water vapor? So make sure that your room has no humidity. How? Let me give you a scenario. When you are cooking, maybe this is our cooking pot or saucepan. Here is our fire. So when we are cooking, this is our fire, this is our saucepan, we are cooking maybe water, whatever, or food. So when you cover this lid, the saucepan with a lid, you cover it with a lid. This is our lid cover. So remember, when we are heating down here, the heat will come, the fire will come to boil whatever we are cooking. So this, this heat will start forming what we call water vapors, water vapor in the saucepan. So when this water vapors comes, they go to the lid, and through the lid, this water vapor will form what we call water. Yes, and whenever you open that saucepan, you will see that water is coming through the lid. The water is coming from where? It's coming from this vapor. So that is what we call humidity. So what do I mean by here? In our room, whenever the room is very, very hot, there is no enough aeration. You don't have windows, you don't have ventilation. That room will have a lot of warmth inside. And when that warmth goes, through the walls, whatever, roof, it will form vapor. And that vapor will form water. So it will be a problem to you. And when that water, start forming in your room, that means the room, that water will have access to your feeds, which is not a good thing. So point number 6 to consider: how to store feeds for a long period of time. Point number 6, make sure that your storage is free from rodents. What do I mean by rodents? For example, rats like eating our feeds. So make sure that you do not have they do not have access to your feeds. Yes, that is very important. How? Make sure that your storage has no holes where these rats can come through. Make sure that the floor is concrete, so that these rodents do not have access. Because if rats come into your storage, they will eat your feeds. Every day, at least one rat can feed 10 kilograms. If you store maize bran, broken maize, they will eat at least 10 grams per day. So it depends on the population of rats you have. Let's say you have 500 rats in your storage. Because they keep on producing also, these rats, they make access. So make sure that you have enough light. How to chase away these rats? Make sure that you don't have access to holes, whatever. Make sure that there is always light in enough light, because these rats do not like light. So make sure that you have light. You do not have access, they do not have access to your storage. Make sure that at least if you find that there is rats, put poison, traps, whatever. Pest and control should be number 1 priority on your farm. So guys, those are the points I have for today on how to store our feeds for a long period of time. Let me see you guys in my next video. Please consider subscribing if at all you are new on our channel. This channel is more of farming, especially poultry business, because poultry business we have found to be a lucrative or the most profitable venture in Uganda. But most people don't know how to deal with poultry. They don't know how to make money out of this business. Therefore, we decided to form this channel so that we can guide you on the steps on how to do this farming to the top notch. See you guys. This is Brian, Smart Farming Uganda.